Hello, guys and gals.
Alright, you know what? What a great segment right into it. Twitch is a disgustingly evil platform. Yes, I am farming them. No, I will not apologize for it. Go!
Me,
Mudahar!
Mudahar, and today's video is going to be a bit of a heavy subject matter. So before we jump in
That's why he
completely,
has the red lights on.
obviously with the title, you obviously know something is pretty wild at Twitch. Now, this is in regards to serious world-shattering events that, again, I'm not an expert in, so I'm going to kind of tread lightly in this situation, explain and discuss things that I reasonably can. But if you want to dive away from heavy stuff and you want to stick to something a little bit more, lighthearted, then, tomorrow I'm probably going to be releasing another deep web video, so get excited for that one. We're looking at a lot of wild websites. And if you want to, look at things like LSD Dream Emulator, maybe some more creepypasta stuff, because I'm going back to that. This week is probably going to be a fun week for some of you guys watching Some Ordinary Gamers.
Honestly, because my hand feels so much freaking like, if it hopefully like I might bandage up my wrist a little bit better. But if there's a couple of scary games that I just recently found that, bro, some of them are free, some of them are demos. There's one that is an underwater city, like submarine exploration, like horror survival, and oh my, there's so many good horror games, bro. I'm gonna be going ham from now until December. We're going ham on scary, by the way. For those who do not know, we here believe in Halloween lasts until Christmas, so we're gonna go spookies all the way until like the last 2 weeks before Christmas. Okay, 14 days before Christmas, that's when I'll start doing Christmas stuff. Otherwise, it's gonna be nothing but spookies and scaries. That's all that's all.
There's a lot of callback to older content that I did and I want to be doing going forward. But this is one of those videos where I've seen it mentioned on the actual Reddit. So if you know that we have the Some Ordinary Gamer subreddit, and one of the top posts was, stuff about Asmongold the last couple days. So, these were pretty high.
Yeah, he had a really shitty take and was generalizing a lot of people. I believe it was the Muslims. Really bad take. He came out and apologized, understanding his mistake and reflecting on what he said, and genuinely feels like he's like learned a lesson, so to speak. Like, even other Muslim people came out to talk to him, which is freaking phenomenal. Shout out to the Muslim people, bro. When bro is talking smack about the Muslim people come to show love. And that's how this is exactly how you freaking change a person's opinion, bro. Bro, they got him with honey, not with vinegar, bro. They got him with honey, not with vinegar. That's all I'm saying.
Viewed posts on my subreddit, and they were ones where it kind of dominated the entire community for a little bit. So obviously, it's one of those things where I kind of want to jump into it because the rabbit hole that I've went down has shown me just how wild and insane Twitch, if not the entire internet, is effectively becoming. So to give you an idea, Asmongold, a couple days ago, made some rather inflammatory statements that got his account banned for 14 days. Now, the statements in particular I'm going to play, and obviously I just want to preface, Zach Asmongold has pretty much walked these things back and, has apologized for it. But to show you exactly what triggered a entire giant domino effect on Twitch, we're going to play this clip right here and kind of touch upon it briefly.
If you want to consider a genocide as a systematic killing of a group of people, they have genocide built into Sharia law right now. So no, I'm not going to cry a river when people who have genocide that's baked into their laws are getting genocided. I don't give a They're terrible people. It's not even a question.
So to cut...
And see, I'm going to make this statement because I'm a huge Asmongold fan. And I completely disagree. It's messed up. Listen. Think about yourself and where you are at. The vast majority of us. Hey, thank you so much for the follow. It's my alt account. Thank you. But let's be honest. It's a lot of very top of the food chain politicians that are basically just sending a lot of, frankly, just normal citizen civilians. Yeah, they're soldiers or whatever, but they're just normal people trying to make a paycheck, and they're basically just sending them to murder each other. I'm not gonna call it anything else than what it actually is. So this is very much like sort of like taking the entirety of all of the group and just like saying that they're all the same and they're all kosher. Like it's like you can't make like that's messed up. That's not how the world works. I'm pretty sure he knows that's not how the world works. Messed up statement altogether.
Cut the whole clip off over here real quick. Obviously, this kind of inflamed individuals
and I will say
because
this every time. I don't care about either or of your freaking beliefs or your freaking politics or I don't care about any of your whatever the fricks. At the end of the day, there are a lot of people dying. Soldier, civilian, innocent, not innocent. There's a lot of people losing their lives, and this is a freaking shame in every stretch of the imagination. And I just hope it freaking ends soon in the most peaceful way humanly possible, with the least amount of lives being lost here. How that happens, how that works, I have absolutely no idea. I am not that intelligent of a monkey to figure that out. What I do know is that it's scary, the idea that the US is getting super, super involved because suddenly other big powers start to get involved. And that's freaking scary. That's all I can say. That's as far as my intelligence goes, okay? If you have any questions,
Zach was referring to Muslims,
go to someone who's actually
specifically
educated
from
on
what
the
I understand, Palestinians at the time, when asked to talk about a conflict like this. Now, obviously, Zach was one of those people that said, weird as fuck to see many people coming out with statements about this conflict as if they need to comment on it. Can we stop this weird culture around expecting people with no relevant backgrounds or educations to talk about world events? See,
I feel like Zach maybe should have taken a little bit of advice from himself, I should say. No, dude, we don't need to comment on absolutely everything in the world. Only comment on things you genuinely know about or have genuine feelings about or towards. Because then you're just not gonna be like, you're never gonna say anything that actually genuinely reflects the situation. You get me? Don't talk out of your butt cheeks is what I'm trying to say. Like, all right, excuse my language. Don't talk out of your ass, because you're never ever going to. It's never gonna be right. It's never gonna come out right. It's always gonna be bad. Just, you know what I'm saying?
Coming out with statements about this conflict as if they need to comment on it.
I talk out of my cheeks and just say some stuff that I don't even know what the freak I'm talking about. And I try to avoid doing that because it's like, if I don't know what's going on, I just don't want to comment on it. I don't want to say nothing until I'm fully educated on what's going on, you know?
Can we stop this weird culture around expecting people with no relevant backgrounds or educations to talk about world events / politics? And I actually agree 100% on that.
Yeah.
It's one of the reasons why I don't really go into these topics, because I'm a fat Indian guy whose background is computer science and cybersecurity. That's all
and I'm gonna say this right freaking now, okay? Yes, I'm farming Twitch with this whole this whole like Frogan Palestine-Israel situation, but that's not really politics. That's me calling out the platform that I'm on Twitch for like really anti-Semitic things. That has nothing to do with politics at all.
I know.
No
Okay, that's
involved there.
where I come down to. It's either
Don't
that
be
or playing video games. I'm not a global expert on anything, which is why I really don't talk about these situations. So obviously Asmongold walked it back, apologized, and said, "My bad." Of course, no one deserves to have their life destroyed, even if they do things, or have views I find regressive. So, in this situation, one could,
There you go. What did I just say earlier? Like, regardless of whatever the frick, it don't matter. Regardless. The moment people start taking each other's lives, it is a travesty and it should be stopped. Point blank. I'm not gonna frickin' sit here and try to make excuses for either or what the frick, how it started, what is BS. We just need to all hope that this freaking war ends soon, and it ends in a peaceful way.
If they were to extend the charitability, could say that Asmongold was probably referring to extremists in the Islamic religion, and their view on people in the LGBTQ camp, all right? As you all know, religious fundamentalists, whether you're in Islam or any religion, probably don't take too kindly to people that are gay, and that's probably what Asmongold was going for. Now,
that's true. Yeah, to be pro them while they're anti-you is a very one of those topics that Hassan never really talks about, huh? Because they brought it up to him many times.
Obviously, his idea of conflating this was probably not the smartest way to handle the situation, and that's pretty much how the situation.
at a bare minimum, right, an understatement and a half, right? He worded it incredibly badly, and even then, just a bad take all around.
Ended up going. Now, he earned himself a 14-day ban, and what this did was basically show people that, hey, listen, this is wild stuff being said. This is some insane shit going on Twitch. But down
See,
the
what
road...
just happened here, though, in my opinion, what just happened there was Twitch just set a precedent to the wider audience of Twitch.
On Twitch, there were plenty of other commentators known as Hassan Piker, and a few people in the politics sphere that basically showed that there is kind of a double standard in how Twitch enforces its actual, TOS. So a couple, days ago, if not a day ago, it turned out that Twitch was apparently banning accounts from Israel from actually signing up. When making an account from Israel on Twitch, it apparently ended up being where Twitch provided one error into its site code where it said, oops, we encountered an unexpected error. 2023 was the error code, and the code was blocked country IP. So this apparently ended up being addressed by Twitch. This was brought forward by Destiny and his co-host on his podcast, where they basically said, we wanted to address concerns we've seen about whether we're preventing Twitch account signups in some regions. When signing up for a Twitch account, you can select an account verification method, email or phone, for added protection. Following the October 7, 2023 attacks, we temporarily disabled signups with email verification in Israel and Palestine. Now, obviously, wild stuff indeed. But why did they do it? We did this to prevent uploads of graphic material related to the attack and to protect the safety of users. It's interesting how the site specifically picked this geolocated region in specific, especially when this wasn't enacted during Ukraine and Russia, or really any country that is still currently actively at war right now as we speak.
Hold on. I gotta maybe disagree with you there, Mudahar. Twitch did ban Russia. I could have sworn they did. I'm gonna get freaking kicked off the platform if I keep freaking showing that. Wow, the keys on this are broken, bro. I gotta freaking... AI, I don't trust you. I never trusted you. How long? When was this from? 2022? I mean, I don't know if this is current. You know what? I'm just gonna put in... I know there's a... Oh, what the frick? I know there's a special way to do it. There's an actual... Yeah, so, well, Google. So Google, not Twitch. Though it looks like, at least back in 2022, quite a few sanctions hit, and it looks like they were banned. I don't know if they're still actively banned, but at some point they were. At least the streamers as well. So I gotta disagree to a certain... I don't know if currently, though. I don't know if they're currently banned. If anybody knows, please let me know. So I gotta disagree with you a little bit there, Muda.
Okay. But anyways, to go further in, signups were not disabled, and we continue to see signups from both regions. Users could choose to sign up with phone verification. We've learned that inadvertently, we did not re-enable email verification signups for either region. Now, they've been community...
Now, I have to say one thing here. I don't know if Mudahar is going to bring this up or not, but however, there have been recent YouTubers coming out saying that they have been contacted by Twitch staff, Amazon staff, showing more so in a company Slack, that they actually brought up the fact in the company Slack that they hadn't re-enabled accounts in that region, and they literally said, "What have they ever done for the rest of the world?" was the response from one of the employees. So it's like, very obviously, they kept those bans in place on purpose out of some kind of alliance to the opposite end, I should say. Now, I'm not going to get into too much specifics. The whole point of this is I want to watch all that today. This is something I've heard of, I've seen on Twitter, so we're going to be getting into all that later.
Sign up with phone verification. We've learned that inadvertently we did not re-enable email verification signups for either region. Now, they've been community noted where they said even signups were impossible when using a phone number.
So they
So
lied.
we deeply regret this unacceptable miss and the confusion it has caused. We fixed this issue, meaning all affected users can sign up with email verification. We've also heard concerns about whether our community guidelines apply to all content on our service, and we continue to enforce our rules as consistently as possible and are
consistently as possible, which is basically them saying when we feel like it.
Reviewing content and taking enforcement action whenever needed. Now, this last paragraph might be...
Oh, and by the way, sorry I have this on here. I don't know if I'm ever going to keep this or not. Y'all let me know what do you think I should keep this, not keep this. But that is from Twitch support.
As consistently as possible and are actively reviewing content and taking enforcement action whenever needed. Now, this last paragraph might be the biggest fucking sack of shit I have ever read from a company like this in my entire time on the internet. But to give you an idea, this was not like a VPN block.
I'm sorry, I gotta hear it one more time. I gotta clip this for some future stuff, dude.
As possible.
For future Twitch, like...
reviewing content and taking enforcement action whenever needed. Now, this last paragraph might be the biggest fucking sack of shit I have ever read from a company like this in my entire time on the internet. But to give
I have to clip that. I gotta clip that for some future stuff, bro. I'm gonna think.
You an idea. This was not like a VPN block or something of that nature. This was actual written into code, a geo block of an entire region.
Yeah.
So why would Twitch decide to ban Israel of all countries?
They're either admitting to doing this on purpose, or they're admitting to being just the most incompetent company that has ever existed.
Especially after all of this has happened,
the most incompetent company ever,
signing up to their service. It just doesn't make any sense. Well, since then, a fair amount of clips have come out that have addressed some individuals on Twitch promoting some rather wild thoughts. So we're going to go down the clip rampage and just go through some of the wildest shit people have been digging out from Twitch. Now, CEO Dan Clancy comes out and says, "We just posted an explanation of what happened. We're very sorry about the oversight. It only came to our attention today. As mentioned in the tweet, it did not affect people using mobile phone verification." Now, it's really...
Literally all of that was a lie. Dan. Ooh, that's bad, Dan. This is bad. First of all, it did not come to your attention just that day, which has been proven, supposedly, by the selects. And if I'm not mistaken, it absolutely affected the mobile phone verification. A lot of people were complaining about that on Twitter. It definitely did.
Of what happened. We're very sorry about the oversight. It only came to our attention today. As mentioned in the tweet, it did not affect people using mobile phone verification.
I see nothing but lies
now, what's
here,
really
Dan.
interesting about this whole situation is when somebody like Dan Clancy says, "Oh, wow, we just found it out now." There was actually a small movement known as Baluat Twitch from actual like Israeli content creators where they actually brought the situation up. They dug into the inspect element, they dug into the console for their web browser, and right over here it said it gave the same thing, error 2023 blocked country IP. So when people started to email them around, right, Twitch support was like, "Hey, I'm really sorry that you're having issues creating an account. We reviewed your case thoroughly and confirmed, unfortunately, you are not eligible to create a Twitch account." So nowhere did they say use a cell phone number, not an email. That wasn't brought up.
Yeah, they're freaking liars. Twitch is a liar. Twitch support is lying. This is full-blown lying. They're trying to gaslight
and then, of
people.
course, the further you dig out into it, one of the receipts that I saw posted was one from the Twitch user voice, where apparently a certain idea was deleted. That idea in particular was in response to you can't create an account in the region of Israel or Palestine. So, again, it's a geo block, it seems, of the area, allegedly.
Yeah.
I agree. We're also people. You cannot make us not watch our favorite streamers just because we are from Israel, Palestine. So, insane shit to be fucking seeing. You know, at one point, you get this piece of shit CEO that comes out and tells you, yeah, we only found out about it. I mean, again, it's just a blatant lie. So, why the fuck would you...
Dan, that looks very bad, Dan. I can't defend you there, Dan. Oh, frickin', I like Dan Clancy, bro. I watched him live stream a couple times. That sucks, bro. I don't like that, Dan. That's really bad. That's really bad of you, Dan. That's scummy and misleading and just...
You need to lie. If anything, that just makes me more
slimy.
Like... It just aggravates anybody watching this because you feel talked down to.
Yeah, I feel like
mocked at the
we're
end of
not
the day.
stupid.
It's such a condescending way to communicate to people
We can
that
look
can easily
up this
counter
stuff.
you in about 5 minutes. Honestly, if you really think about it, this rule actually hurt Gazans more than it ever would have hurt Israelis, because as geoblock, if it targeted that region, you know, if you wanted to allow people to document and live stream the real atrocities that are occurring to them in that region,
you know, like many people did during the Ukraine situation, there are many, many, many Ukrainians still actively using TikTok for the purposes of waging war. And I don't mean that in a technically bad, quote-unquote way, but like specifically... The example I'm talking about is there were a lot of Ukrainians putting up videos on TikToks giving you literally step-by-step instructions on how to get inside of a Russian tank and steal it and then use it. Like, they were actually genuinely teaching other Ukrainians how to, like, steal Russian tanks and then use them against them. Like, it was freaking wild.
you know, Palestinians could have used a platform to showcase themselves. In reality, it shows how borderline, like,
but of
it
course,
shows how stupid...
You have to understand one thing, too, and the reason I bring that up is because there was a lot of situations, too, where, like, Russia was talking about how their, like, military might was astounding, and they were destroying and wrecking, and everything. Meanwhile, there's people, actual, like, gorgeous Ukrainian women, basically in, like, the latest fashion, walking up on an abandoned Russian tank. Because it, like, freaking ran out of fuel, they gassed it up or something, and they just got back in there and freaking took it all, like, it's mine now, goodbye. And it's just like, yeah, no, you're, like, abandoning some of your stuff out there. Or, like, some of their soldiers were, like, running away because they thought they were, you know, they would throw a Molotov in the tank. They would run away, they would get out, they would do whatever they had to, and then they would just take it over. So there was a lot of stuff going on, a lot of, like, but Russia was basically, like, lying, saying that this and this was happening, but then you would see TikToks and live streams from on-the-ground people, and you would see the reality of the situation, which is kind of wild and crazy and weird to think about, but at the same time, gives us, so, like, bro, imagine if we had this during some of the... I say greatest, right, in like the Great Wars and stuff, but not great as in good. Some of the greatest wars, and absolutely, like, imagine if we had live streaming technology during World War II. The amount of information we would have about what the frick happened during some of that stuff.
Which can be, and in them trying to, I guess, protect people, they inadvertently limited people's, like, ability to express and produce content that could actually be eye-opening to a lot of people who don't know about the situation beyond what they read on the internet and through their feeds.
But Dan Clancy is somebody that literally allows this site to foster some of the wildest shit you'll ever hear. Now, there's a website known as danclancysucks.com where it goes through a treasure trove.
I can't, dude! Ah! We saw this earlier in another video. I was like, oh, that sucks, because this was happening before Dan, and I don't know if Dan is to blame, but after seeing Dan lying to everyone, trying to make it seem like they didn't know about it, it's like, oh, Dan, no, Dan, why are you doing this, Dan? Come on, Dan!
Of some of the most popular streamers on the site, one of the most popular political streamer, Hassan Piker, and of course several of his, like, you know, people in his camp, like Frogan or really any of these other, like, political people, these political slop creators. And again, I highly do mention the word slop. I know that people would say that, Muda, you make slop, Pyrocynical makes slop, Charlie makes slop, lots of people make slop. Now,
yeah, welcome to YouTube. It's Slop Central, baby. If you don't want it to work, if you want people to stop doing it, stop watching it. Otherwise, shut up and watch it, enjoy it. Because let's be honest, everybody here for the slop. I watch the slop. Why do you think I make slop content? Because I watch slop. I like slop. I like watching slop, and so I make slop. That's how it be.
I would say that
I also will love watching VTuber video game VODs, which is why I also play video games and upload the VODs, because that's what the content I enjoy. So there you go. I mean, that's it. It's that simple. It's not that complicated. It works.
Political content creators,
People
the kind
watch
of
it.
stuff and clips that I've heard are some of the most inflammatory shit that I have seen. And it comes from people that really have no understanding about what they're talking about. But Twitch has allowed a platform where you can just say whatever you want to say with no actual repercussion, provided your politics are on their side. Similar to how Twitter or really any other form of social media kind of handles it. If you condemn Twitter for how they portray certain things on the internet or how, toxic their platform can get, you also have to actually condemn Twitch or really any platform for that matter. So, for instance, according to Twitch and their community guidelines, if you go down to, actual civility and respect, hateful conduct, Twitch aims to be a place where everyone can come together and share community experiences. So what they say is Twitch does not permit behavior that is motivated by hatred, prejudice, or intolerance, including behavior that promotes or encourages discrimination, denigration, harassment, or violence based on the following protected characteristics. So those characteristics are race, ethnicity, color, caste, national origins, immigration status, religion, sex, gender identity, orientation, disability, serious medical condition, and veteran status. So,
Well, wow. I mean, freaking Frogan and Hassan violate so many of those by themselves.
because Twitch said, we like to enforce our shit very equally, listen to what one of Twitch's political streamers has to say. This is Frogan coming at you with the dumbest shit that I've heard in a while.
I have no pity at all for any soldiers. Distress, thank you so much. I will never have any pity for any soldiers. U.S. military? Boo fucking who? I hope you get PTSD. I do, the ones I do,
As someone who their entire life has been living with and actually diagnosed with PTSD, go fudge yourself, Frogan. Plain and simple.
the ones I'm like, whatever about the U.S. soldiers.
That shit is not funny, bro. I freaking still have nightmares about some shiz that happened in my childhood, bro. Screw you. So hard. I am 28 years old and I still have nightmares every once in a while about my PT. Go fudge yourself to the fullest extent.
Are the
You
ones
are
that like
you are a
acknowledge that
disgusting
like what
human
they did was
being,
wrong? They didn't
and
know
that
well
has
back.
zero to do with your politics, your ethnicity, your beliefs, anything. It has to do with this opinion that you have. I think you're a disgusting human being.
They didn't know back then. Whatever. You're a good person in my book. Oh my god, Tom, thank you so much for the 10 gifted. So the U.S. military that are like, yeah, like, I did this back then, but now I know it's wrong. Like, I'm changed. Like, imperialism. This, you don't deserve the PTSD. But like any other motherfucker, you're joining them.
You don't deserve the PTSD. They still got it though. You're not here hoping they get it. What about the people currently in that service that eventually will also have that same opinion of whatever you said, I disagree with it now. Like, what kind of a?
Oh my god, I
so
want my
stupid.
Camaro, no student loans. F you.
So
I hope you get PTSD.
freaking petty.
And I hope you get no health insurance when you get back in America.
Oh, how out of touch
Oh,
do
don't
you...
worry. The vast majority of us, especially the veterans, do not get health insurance. They definitely don't.
You gotta be.
We
How
treat our
privileged you gotta
veterans
be
like
to sit
garbage
there
in
on
the
your
US.
ass in California and just badmouth the people that take a bullet for your freedoms every single day. The most outrageous
Bro, it's one of
shit
those things I freaking hate, genuinely, about all of America across the board. But it definitely happens a lot here in California, where there's just so much disrespect for people who, whether you believe or don't believe or whatever the frick, these are people that are actively going out there. Even if they don't believe in the politics of the current president, they actively go out there to serve and sustain the system that lets me sit down on my fat ass here and talk smack on Twitter and Twitch and YouTube all day. And if it wasn't for them, I would not freaking be here. If it wasn't for them, I could be in the same situation that potentially Palestine and Israel are right now, Ukraine and Russia are right now, if it wasn't for these people. Like, no matter what you believe or what your stances are on politics, don't disrespect these people. Because they don't care about your stances or your positions or your beliefs. They will defend your rights regardless. Don't disrespect them. You don't gotta love them. You don't gotta like them. Don't disrespect them.
you'll ever hear. Like downright, just hateful rhetoric. Now, obviously, the people who are in the military
wishing
are like,
they get
"Wow,
a
we're getting that
serious mental
Camaro." I have
illness.
never in a million years met somebody, and I've met plenty of friends, friends
by Twitch's TOS, Frogan is using hateful speech and wishing a serious mental illness on a protected class of citizen. It's that simple, according to their
Who are
TOS.
actually active
Like, what the
military,
frick?
people that are retired military at this point.
And P.S. I know right now, as I record this, Frogan has finally been banned, but she was not banned until it became a huge freaking situation, and everybody started to call it out.
On their careers, you know, people that have played video games who've told me about their stories, never once have I ever heard people jump into the army for that free juicy Camaro. Ooh, maybe the student loans. And as somebody that, you know, at the time, financially speaking, I needed money for school, I probably would have joined the Canadian Air Force, you know, out of a patriotic duty, but also because, you know, you sign a bond with them, you work in the military, you get your school paid for, you know, good schooling, and that's kind of how things, you know, go. It's a deal you end up making. I think a lot of people that join the military who are these cogs in the machine that you'd be so willing to say, yeah, I hope you get PTSD if you're not, you know, this reformed person that, you know, has to bend the knee constantly because of your service to your country. Yeah, I think those people are usually in the military out of necessity, or, you know, at some point they need a career, they need to join something. And the military is a great provider of it. The military also produces a lot of those same technologies used to stream your nonsense garbage on the internet. You know, they do a lot more than just this imperialism that she, you know, likes to throw around. You know, there is very...
I'm so sorry as well. This has nothing to do with anything. What video game is this? This looks so good. I'm sorry. I just had to... this looks so amazing. I just know what it, like... It looks so good. I love this little robot guy.
Valid criticisms you can make of the U.S. military, but I think going after the cogs in the machine, the people that are the grunts, the foot soldiers, is just insane. This kind of rhetoric doesn't really bring anyone together. If anything, all it does is just sow more discord and, you know, sow more issues amongst people who are already facing a lot of issues right now, people who are already so divided. You know, this kind of rhetoric doesn't really, you know, portray anything. She might think this is based, but at the end of the day, it's just literally cowardice behavior that, you know, you're displaying from the internet. You're not really actually providing any solution. You're just sitting over there wishing that people who literally fight for your freedoms every day would get probably the worst post-traumatic stress disorder or mental illnesses because of their service. I mean, honestly, if you were a serviceman and you heard this shit, I would actually understand if you probably regretted your service afterwards, or if you actually question your patriotism. If these are the actual, you know, people that you're fighting for, the people that you're, you know, hoping live their freedoms, right? In the manner that
Imagine fighting for someone's, like, right to trash talk you, bro.
They've become so accustomed to, and
they do it gladly,
literally taken for granted.
As someone who has a lot of family members in the military, knows quite a few people in the military, they do it gladly. I do definitely. I've spoken to a lot of my military family and asked them about these sorts of situations. Not this Frogan one specific, but I asked them about all these people that are, like, so anti-military, so anti, like, all this stuff, and they say it's like, yeah, but it's like, you know, like that's why we're fighting, is because they have the right to talk trash about us. Like, there's nothing else to it. We're literally fighting for them to have that right, and so it's like, why would I be mad about it? If you know, that's why I fought, for them to be able to do that. I'm like, that's a very adult way of thinking about it.
Hateful shit that she's spouting, and realistically, it just comes from this very one-sided view of the army, or really your country. You know, it feels like a lot of the extreme leftists on the internet have literally just amounted to their policy being America bad, and realistically never really looking at any of these things from a nuanced perspective. On a side note, I also love how these people talk about getting universal health care.
Well, you have to understand one thing, is that nuance never helps your argument. Nuance adds nuance. It shows you that not everything is black and white, and that's not good for when you're trying to push an extreme. You want it to be black and white, good or bad, your side or my side. You want everyone on your side. Nuance has no place
which is genuinely a cool thing to see people actually, you know, live and not be indebted to the medical industry of the United States because they happen to get sick or go through something serious. No, your medical rights are only really present as long as you share your political views with us. I mean, how fucking backwards, out of touch bullshit is this when you got to hear it, right? It's like, I hope you get PTSD and I hope America doesn't pay for your medical stuff. I mean, they're military people. If you had any basic understanding, they probably have earned, you know, their medical protections because of the service that they've offered. Just insane stuff.
Oh, you will be surprised how little medical well, it depends on the state too, right? But you'll be surprised how little like medical benefits you get from the military nowadays.
To see.
Now, will Twitch ban this person
It
for their
it was a fight
obvious,
for a lot of military to actually get medical
obvious
benefits.
hateful conduct on the site? Probably not. They're just
Like,
walking around
genuinely good,
completely
not just
free.
any, but
It's
good
insane shit.
medical
It's a
benefits.
laissez-faire attitude. Now, obviously, after some backlash, this complete dipshit comes out and goes, "I realize that wishing people harm isn't the best way to."
The U.S. military has conducted some of the most horrific crimes against humanity in the modern era in countries such as Iraq, Afghanistan, Syria, Lebanon. Sorry, my glasses broke. And Palestine. My anger is directed at it. She's saying this as if none of these countries have also done horrific crimes against humanity at all. Like, welcome to the world. Every country and every military has done horrific tragedies. What are you talking about? Who are currently championing these war crimes if they liberated my people. It's horrific and disgusting. The beginning of the clip was worded poorly, and I do apologize for that. I go on to clarify in the clip that I do not mean all military, but specifically those with no remorse. What I said, that doesn't make this any better.
Talk about these issues. Really? Really? Wow! And these people are supposed to be the fucking intellectual bastions on the internet. Really? You think that being hateful isn't going to attract people? Whoa, hold on a minute. You're telling me that it's easier to attract people with honey than vinegar?
God damn it! I was about to say the same thing, but I was going to say bees. All right, you know what? That's fine.
It ain't so cheap. That's wild
Freaking stole
shit.
my lawn.
Now, going down further into this specific
Stole my lawn. Freaking
Cretan,
Mohawk
one thing
came over to my house and started taking all of my synthetic grass. My whole lawn is gone. I'm joking. He stole my line.
that really came out wild was this TwitchCon sponsored event. Now, this is 3 weeks ago, so this is very recent. Like, this is, again, very much in Twitch's line. So she posts this, like, clip or video. It's like, how Arab are these Twitch streamers, right? So it's live at TwitchCon, and if you actually watch the content over here, you'll see that they're pretty much sponsored by Chevron.
How Arab are these Twitch streamers?
Samsung, Capcom.
By the way, how Arab are these Twitch streamers is the tier list. Yet she puts a non-Arab in the Arab category, which basically just means, yeah, though this was just a good to bad tier list.
They got some pretty big
They even
sponsors right over
color-coded
here,
it.
insane stuff. So if you look at the actual like tier list, you can see that Arab streamers S, Hassan Piker, funny, the Turkish guy is on the Arab list. All right. Then you've got like AB, the actual Arabs, and then of course on the F tier.
By the way, so on an Arab tier list, on an Arab tier list, how Arab are you? Hassan Piker, the Turkish guy, is in S rank. The actual Arab people are A rank. Get the frick out! Like, wow, this is insulting to Arab people.
It gets interesting.
Hassan Piker is more Arab than you Arab
So
people.
at this point, we reach like, all right, S is good. S is good tier. A and B are not as good as S, but it's there. F tier, that tier just gives me the heebie-jeebies. The Jews? Ooh, boy, oh boy.
All the Jews
We
at the
actually
bottom of the
watched
tier
clip,
list.
and you look at this tier list that they're doing, it's insane because like at the top they've got the Arab, they've got Arab coded, they've got ask perms, things it's a slur, and then the words love Sabra. Now Sabra apparently
Who
in
else
their
would love
eyes is
Sabra?
like
Let's be
they're
honest here.
referring to like a brand of hummus that exists in Israel that is basically in part of a boycott. Now Sabra
It's also here in California. It's delicious.
also translates to Israeli Jew or Jew born in Israel. So realistically, you know, if we're gonna use the terminology that these people politically like to use, this is what we consider a dog whistle, okay?
Yep.
Because in reality,
This is literally a dog whistle. This and Zionist are starting to turn into dog whistles.
is what they're actually going for. I mean, the thumbnail that I showed you, and again, these are the same people that judged me based on the thumbnail that I used for like the Keffels video. So to give you a quick idea,
At least the way that Hassan Piker, Frogan, and all these other freaking like strong political YouTubers are using it, Zionist is basically just a dog whistle for Jew now.
understand, putting two Jews in the F tier kind of gives you an idea of like where they're at. Arab being at the top, Jew being at the bottom. Okay, see, I can look at this.
Sorry, Turkish being at the top of the Arab list, Jew being bottom of the Arab list.
Immediately understand that this is most definitely designed to be hateful rhetoric, right? Like, no matter how you want to cut and slice it,
Apparently,
if I had done this, or anybody had done this,
Turkish
or people
are
who
more
are
Arab
opposed
than
politically to
people.
these people who do it,
Arabic
they would say
people.
that
Freaking,
this is hateful
I
conduct.
cannot talk today. Sorry. Turkish. I said Turkey people, by the way. Freaking idiot. Turkish people are apparently more Arabic than Arabic people.
This is literally hateful conduct occurring on the platform. Now, will Twitch punish the accounts responsible for that kind of display of idiocy on the platform? No. Will Twitch...
They finally did after the entire internet made a ginormous deal about it, and reportedly they lost 70% of their revenue, ad revenue. Reportedly,
no.
Supposedly, allegedly. I don't know. We're gonna verify.
Now,
we're gonna see some of those videos in a
attention
bit.
to Twitch's biggest political streamer, Hassan.
But I'm thinking after that
Piker.
we'll probably move on to
Now,
actual
Hassan,
spooky, scary
in the last,
stuff.
I want to say a couple of weeks, has
Time is it?
basically
We're gonna
been
keep going for a while now.
exposing
Don't
people
worry.
to wild shit. Now, if you watch some of his streams, he's sitting with another actual streamer, and when you watch it, he's literally walking away and playing literal terror propaganda, actual terror music
Terrorist
videos
propaganda.
to random creators. Now, if I was to do this on YouTube or really any other platform or even Twitch, I would actually be expecting a ban. A couple about a
Well,
year or
not if
two
you're
ago.
Hassan Piker. If you're Hassan Piker, you're allowed to play terrorist propaganda on live stream.
I was actually assisting a couple smaller YouTubers who basically had memes where they had literal actual meme channels where they had actual about a year or two ago. I was actually
clear. Content praising
assisting a couple
or
smaller
memorializing
YouTubers who
prominent
basically had
terrorist
memes
extremists,
where they had
extremists or criminal figures in order to encourage them to carry out acts of violence.
literal actual
Content praising or justifying violent acts carried out by violent extremists, criminals, or terrorist organizations. Hassan's doing all of this.
meme channels where they had actual I think it was ISIS music, and YouTube immediately after detecting it completely demonetized accounts. In some cases they would actually remove videos or even ban people because YouTube went through a serious apocalypse in regarding this. And obviously I think most platforms understand that highlighting illegal criminal organizations, they don't even have to be terrorists, they can be literal criminal gangs. If you're out there promoting the Hells Angels or you're promoting the Mexican drug cartels, you would probably get a serious ban. But in this situation, Twitch's largest political streamer, left-wing political streamer, can just fucking outright, promote this kind of stuff on the platform. And it's not even just that. It gets to a point where, imagine being a political streamer and you bring a actual pirate, a actual criminal onto your streams. And instead of, being respectful and being a proper journalist, you get on your knees and suck their dick for about 32 minutes. Watch this clip.
They win over the crews on these ships, and they win them over with their charm, and they make them hate America and the U.S. government.
That's so funny. Think about China. Does he know anything about China?
He's saying he hasn't spent much time with Chinese people, but one of the captain was Chinese, and he
how is this not promoting an active the guy himself admits to being a freaking active terrorist? How is this not promoting an active terrorist?
caught with them, and he danced some music with them, and he was vibing. So he likes him, yeah.
So what? I mean, what?
He even tells the guy that everybody in his chat supports him and thinks that he's as cool as Monkey D. Luffy from One Piece. How is that not promoting a terrorist?
Are they just fucking chilling with the captains? I don't understand.
Yeah, I just want to reiterate that we're talking about somebody that has been taken hostage, who, quote unquote, is being chilled with. And again, this is just right on Twitch.
America's America's blowing them up while they're just doing cat and fucking chilling with the captains. How does he feel about that? Isn't that
Oh yeah, these terrorists that kidnap people, they're all cool.
crazy? I don't know how to describe.
Now, these clips were seen 8 months ago on Willie Mack's channel, which you can watch this video right now. Hassan will sit there and hypebeast these people without any care in the world. This man does not critically apply any form of journalism. He is just showing these people and promoting them in this incredibly positive light when there are actually just pirates and terrorists who are putting people in harm's way, especially people
literally pirates and terrorists. Twitch. Oh, come on, Dan. Dan? You're allowing Hassan Piker to just show actual terrorist attacks? Come on, Dan. Come on, Dan.
nothing to do with the Israeli
You
conflict
can't do
in general.
that, Dan.
So again, if you want to check it out, Willie Mack's video is great. He covers this topic. I would highly recommend you see this to see actual proper journalism and an actual proper objective coverage of the situation.
I'm gonna have
So he brings this kid on and basically, talks about One Piece. They have a whole like gag and everything. And the thing about this kid is, obviously, if you know him, like this guy is an influencer called Timothy Chalamet. Okay, so the Houthi movement, basically a movement where, again, this kid is part of a piracy organization where you can see him literally on like actual captured vessels. It's not something that's like a hidden secret. He brought this guy on and basically popularized him. Now, before people in the Hassan camp go, but Muda, this kid has seen only suffering his entire life. So obviously, he's going to be part of these situations. And you're being a little bit harsh. Now, I am one of those people.
Yeah, and every single Geppetto and like pedo has got it up the butt from his dad. I don't care if you're freaking touching kids, you go to jail. If you're a terrorist attacking and pirating, then you freaking go. What do you mean?
That is empathetic towards individuals, and obviously, if this kid has
I can
only
have
ever seen
empathy
death
for
and
you and still
destruction
find
in
you
his entire
disgusting.
life because of the Saudi-Yemen conflict, then yes, I can understand why they would do such a thing. But never in a million years should you, as
Like,
a
don't get me
content
wrong. I feel bad for the guy. I understand that for a lot of these pirates as well, they really don't got a choice. That's the really messed up part about it all too. Is that for a lot of people who do pirating or into pirating, like it's not really by choice as well. Like sometimes this is what they got to do to survive.
creator or a journalist, I guess, or a political commentator ever bring somebody on and kind of popularize these things, okay? These people are ultimately part of a criminal operation, an enterprise, a terrorist movement that shouldn't be glorified. And it's not similar to interviewing like bin Laden back in 1997 with CNN. These are situations where even back then, these were interviews done respectfully, and it wasn't in a way to glorify anybody who was part of a seriously criminal operation that isn't designated just by one country, but by a consortium of countries, even countries that are diametrically opposed to each other, politically. These are actual interviews that people do with criminals as a way to get multiple sides of a story. It's not meant to glorify somebody or glorify their cause as something just.
In a way, it's like presenting people like Sneeko or Andrew Tate, who I've made videos on in the past. It's like if I promote them or talk about them on my channel, it's usually with a very objective view. It's usually with a very careful view where obviously if they promote bad ideologies, right, like hatred or bigotry, it's about sitting there and deconstructing it with actual facts and logic instead of, sitting down and kind of, hype beasting it to the point where you're normalizing it to a whole bunch of communities, right? It's like hosting a neo-Nazi on your actual channel and not combating them on their terrible beliefs or their violent or extremist beliefs, right? You have
At that point, it's not really a discussion or an interview. It's literally just platforming them.
to be able to counter these people if you're willing to platform them. Otherwise, they just have a free speaker to operate their, shitty beliefs over. And these are things that, again, no matter which side of the political spectrum you fall onto, I would imagine political content creators would be a bit more careful than even average YouTubers. If you got people like me who are just engineers and computer scientists that know better and know how to actually handle these facts, then these people are complete buffoons that shouldn't be operating in this field of content in the first place.
Now, that same guy that Hassan was kind of sucking the dick off basically was out there posting the executions we will carry out on all Zionists in this situation.
Well, there he is. Yep, all right. Oh,
now,
boy.
one could sit down and probably say, yeah, he's probably talking about, just Zionists, not Jews in specific. But, looking into this person and the Houthi movement and the group in particular, the
Zionists
idea
just
of
the modern-day
anti-Zionism
dog
is
whistle for Jews.
also conflated with, anti-Semitism in this situation as well. It's just more hateful rhetoric that is being constantly pushed down anyone's feed. I think hate from any angle is bad. But this guy is not necessarily any innocent, party. Now, obviously, Twitch, who is in such a weird state right now, has decided to let this guy constantly stream, and from what I understand, even unban the account, to which he's an actual streamer on Twitch right now.
This entire conversation is fucking idiotic. It's not a Jewish person. He said, why am I held accountable for some random fucking...
Because you platformed him. How fucking hard is that? You're the one...
Hassan understands this. He's just acting stupid. Like that. Let's not get it twisted here. Hassan understands all of this. This is just his tactic. It's don't argue the argument at all. Just immediately leave the argument and go on to something else. Why am I responsible for someone else's beliefs? It's like that's not the argument here. You're platforming him. He just refuses to argue the actual point ever.
To put him on your channel unapologetically and then memed with him about One Piece, didn't ask him one single critical question. That's you. You did that. I'm criticizing you. You're not accountable for him. You're accountable for yourself.
And glorifying.
Now, honestly, that's probably the best way to put it. Thank you, Ethan Klein, for saying it like that. And, you know, at the end of the day, it kind of almost harkens back to, again, hey, listen, if you're going to put somebody on your channel, you really should be able to counter them on their terrible beliefs. You know, these are the same people that would say if you have like 10 people at a table and one of them are Nazis and you're not countering that Nazi on his terrible beliefs, then congratulations, you have 10 Nazis at that table. You know, these are the same people that would say.
Yeah, well, that's a great freaking. That's a great one. I've heard that one before. That's been a while.
Them are Nazis, and you're not countering that Nazi. If you're going to put somebody on your channel, you really should be able to counter them on their terrible beliefs. You know, these are the same people that would say if you have like 10 people at a table and one of them are Nazis, and you're not countering that Nazi on his terrible beliefs, then congratulations, you have 10 Nazis at that table. You know, these are the same people that would say it, and I feel like you should hold people to that same accountability. And honestly, if you come across violent or hateful rhetoric, you should be combating it. Like, you 100% should.
What's even fucking wild is when discussing this person in a very recent interview with Asmongold, like when they were talking about why Asmongold had his, like, wild takes. This is what Hassan had to say about that pirate. Watch this.
We're not like, oh, you're trans, we're gonna kill you. They were like, oh, thank you for your fucking humanitarian aid. They don't give a shit. Like, it's the same as any other kind of person. I talked to a teenager from Yemen, okay, who everyone called, myself included, called Timothy Charlemagne or Chalamet.
Is that the One Piece one?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Now this kid is like, I think he was like 19 at the time when I talked to him, which means that for most of his life he has withstood genocide, right?
Sure.
Like he is a person whose only experience is like, it's literally like talking to fucking Anne Frank, basically.
Oh, yeah. You know, where's that part of
talking to a terrorist pirate is like talking to Anne Frank. Okay, got it.
Anne Frank's diary when she was also rating shit?
Got it.
Like, these are things where, again, yes, in one way, Hassan is kind of like this weird hyperbolic individual.
Oh yeah, Anne Frank constantly talked about executing Zionists. Oh, she was all about executing Zionists.
He has,
Anne
like,
Frank.
kind of a point. Both these people are young; they've seen death and destruction their entire life, and you can almost empathize with somebody who is doing a bad thing, is part of a terrible movement, is part of a terrible group that is actually committing crimes, and you can understand why they do it because of the world that they've lived in. But then to compare it to like Anne Frank, who, again, is a pacifist in comparison, is just insane shit. And it's weird because, like, it's in one of these situations where when it comes to like people like Hassan, we've had him on like the podcast, the Some Ordinary Podcast, one of the first actual like, big guests. And on that show, what's insane to me is like, look, people like Frogan, people like Asmongold, I would say that they're pretty stupid in understanding these situations. I'm stupid. Hassan, however, is not. This guy knows better. Yet he just purposefully goes and obfuscates things like this. It's insane. Now, again, I don't want to jump and make this like a super political video because, again, I'm not equipped to even discuss this kind of stuff. But I am somebody that has basically been seeing a lot of this, like, insane side of the internet effectively take over and become so normalized. Now, in the situation, like I've said before, and I've been clipped a few times, and, even when I stream, videos do get uploaded of my takes on situations that I feel like I need to clarify. I'm not somebody that is afraid to say that genocide is wrong. I think that there is an actual case of, genocide, and there's an actual case of attack that goes towards the Palestinian people. I think there's very serious situations that go around the world. Now, at the same time, these are situations that involve, a group of people, Muslims and Jews, that have effectively been at each other's throats for not just decades, but hundreds of years. It's why when I talk about these situations in a nuanced conflict, I say that, listen, you are talking about hundreds of years of, like, just institutional dislike between each other. If you've ever grown up Muslim, and I have, then you know that there is a serious culture of anti-Semitism, in amongst the most conservative of Muslim circles. just as you will know that there is a serious amount of Islamophobia in the most right wing of Jewish circles. These are two groups of people that literally are just fighting each other. And it's not going to change until like the youth grow up and realize that this kind of hatred towards each other doesn't really meld well. And when it comes to people dying in a conflict zone like Gaza right now, there is literally nothing that I feel other than sadness for men, women, and children needlessly dying for no reason. It's why that, time and time again, I donate as much as I can to aid. Even going, like tens of thousands of dollars just to make sure that people who need medical assistance, and I vet my charities the best that I can to assist people in really shitty situations. I don't make it a big deal to talk about it because I don't think donating money should be constantly promoted in the sense that, are you really doing it to help people, or are you doing it to make yourself look better in the eyes of the world?
Yeah.
But it's the tiniest thing that I can do in order to make sure that, maybe somebody who needs medical assistance in a part of the world where they literally can, literally it is one of the most like sought after needs, can get some attention. And it's one conflict that I hope before I die, things can kind of change. Now, ultimately, I really do think that Twitch is fucking cooked when it comes to this kind of stuff. The clips that I've seen the last few days have been downright disgusting to witness.
Yeah.
And one of the things that I noticed on my phone...
Like, the thing is, and it's always going to be like this, because Twitch has always been like this, and it'll be like this with any company. Kick, YouTube, in different aspects, but it's always going to be like this. They genuinely will not care, make a change, or really, like, pay attention to any of this unless there is genuinely some form of, like, money being lost. Otherwise, they don't care. Like, they're never going to.
And my wife actually saw this too, was I opened up the health app on my phone. And I guess I did a questionnaire. And inside my questionnaire, I was actually like diagnosed. Well, I wouldn't say diagnosed, but the questionnaire rated me as moderately severe to depression. And I don't recall myself ever being in that route or in that stage. There was a video that a creator I respect, known as Jacksepticeye, made a couple days ago titled Help, where he talked about the internet and toxicity, and most importantly, the mental health associated with it. Now, I think the world's a bad place.
You don't say.
I know that I put a lot of smiles on things.
I feel like 80% of the world is good, kind-hearted, amazing, genuinely great, but there is a 20% that will always stand out because when they commit atrocities or when they do bad things, terrible things, it's going to be more noticed because, it's 20% compared to the 80% that the majority of people are just kind, good people. But it's that 20% that ruins it for everyone else and really creates a lot of distrust amongst everybody. It's really sad to see.
I know that I laugh a lot, and I really do try to put like the best smile forward, okay? My goal is to make you laugh. My goal is to make people smile and be happy. But I do sometimes believe the world is a bad place. And I think a lot of the social media platforms like Twitch, like Twitter, like a lot of these places have promoted the most insane rhetoric, like this hateful rhetoric, rage bait, actual toxic content. And it's done nothing but throw people down a shit rabbit hole. When I look at Asmongold's statements that he made a few days ago, it reminds me of growing up as a kid, post 9/11, that level of, Islamophobia, I guess, if one wants to say it. It's not something that I have not seen, before. I've seen tons of people hate for no reason. I've seen tons of people bring up this divide, and I don't know what the solution to it, but it really has brought me back to realizing what I like the most about my channel. I don't want to kind of make any more of this kind of content covering these kind of people. This will probably be the last time that I ever want to aim making this kind of content or discussing these kind of things. But I think it's an important discussion to have. No matter where you stand on these situations, you can call me a fence sitter or fucking centrist or whatever the hell. But I really do think that no matter what side you're on, no matter what your beliefs are, any hateful rhetoric like this shouldn't be tolerated by anybody on the platform. It really shouldn't. Because if you want to talk about dividing people and keeping hate alive, it's literally this rhetoric that keeps us going. It's this kind of negativity on the internet, and this kind of negativity that people like, I think, Hassan, Frogan, and Sneeko and all these people promote, that I really think should be avoided. This kind of doomer stuff is stuff that really shouldn't. I feel like the more people that consume it, the more they fall down into this rabbit hole, and the worse it really ends up being for them mentally. Look, at the end of the day, for my channel, I'm some ordinary gamers. And, I like to make a community that involves everyone to be a part of it. One of the things I like about video games is, growing up, playing them online, the anonymity has always really stripped away these immutable characteristics. And that would be race, religion, identity. And because of the anonymity that online
now here we're all just Master Chief. You shut your mouth, all right? We're Spartans.
Really provided, or really this community, whether you be on like a message board talking about Shin Megami Tensei or really any random game, you strip away those immutable characteristics and you realize at the end of the day, all human beings really are the same people. You bleed the same. If my body was chopped in half, I would look the same inside as anybody else, regardless of their immutable characteristics. Hanging on to these constant hateful rhetorics on the internet is what's ultimately causing us a divide, and I think it's what causes us to be so separated and distrustful. To look at Jacksepticeye's video, it's not that the internet has become more hateful, it's that a lot of this hateful rhetoric that, people are promoting on the platforms, it used to be something that you would see on like a random message board or some fringe website on the internet. But to see the kind of clips that we saw today exist on the front page of Twitch, Reddit, most of the mainstream social media platforms, it might be what's contributing to the worst humanity is kind of seeing. I uninstalled Twitter and left it because of how weird it got on the platform, and it's probably been the best for my mental health. And, to see on Twitch the kind of rhetoric being promoted that is from the other opposite political end, when you're talking about service operators getting PTSD, when you're talking about promoting hateful terrorist music videos.
Bro really left Twitter to try to escape from all this, and it found it all on Twitch.
Like random individuals.
Still there, like,
these are
freaking
things
hey, there's
that
no escaping this.
Probably should exist in Clown World, but they exist in actual reality. I'm sure that I'm probably going to have a pretty divisive comment section going down into this video. And I'm kind of interested in reading it. But to going forward, this is my last time I really want to make content, ever covering this kind of stuff. And I pledge, at least for the remainder of my time here on YouTube, I want to go back to I really want to just do a deep web video now every week, because things were a lot more simpler when I was reading through fucking goofy shit on the internet. I really want to play some random PS2 games, and I think I'm just going to do that this week.
Bro, why do you think all I do, I've been doing reaction stream. I do reaction stream once a week, maybe. But other than that, I'm just playing video games. It's just VODs. Just play video games, bro. I've been going through all of my old Steam accounts, stuff that I haven't been able to play in a while. Just enjoy life, and I feel like that's what people show up for. There's days where I do react. You guys want to see me react to the world, and that's YouTube. YouTube is there. It's always gonna be there, right? You're always gonna get my reaction videos on the daily. You get 2 videos a day. But if you just want to chill, you just want to relax, you just want to play a game and forget about the world, go watch one of my VODs. A gameplay VOD, a spooky game. A lot of people love my spooky games, because I'm really good at spooky games. I freaking beat Five Nights at Freddy's all on my second try. Pizzeria Simulator. Freaking I'm amazing. But, the point being is that, that's why I try to make a very healthy dose of, on YouTube, it's just reaction stuff. VODs, stream bots, bam, you're always going to have those available. And on Twitch, live streams, my dude. And that's why I want to put more time and effort into my YouTube stream bots, too. I want to, edit them, chop them up, make them all nice so that you guys can enjoy them and actually, just experience the game and nothing else.
After that. But yeah, this is me, Mudahar, and I'm not going to ask you to like this video, comment, or dislike, or subscribe, or anything of that nature. But I do want you guys to think about the content you're consuming and the kinds of people that, are on these platforms, especially Twitch. Anyways, I'm out.
Absolutely great video, my dudes. Great video. No, it really brings I feel like, even though yes, we don't want to be making this kind of course, nobody wants them to put this video on the Discord, by the way. Go drop them a like, go drop them a sub, all that good stuff. No, here's the thing, and maybe it's because I just started. I'm still pretty early on in my career with YouTube and Twitch and all this stuff, and Kick. But the facts are the facts. Like, I feel like, first of all, I'll say this, like, I agree with Murahara. I personally stay away from politics. I don't like politics. It's for the most part, I disagree with either or side. There's never gonna be, you can't have any nuance in politics because the extremes are gonna always freaking like force you to go to one. So I try to avoid it. I try to stay away from it. I try to ignore it. I try to just not get involved with it. But when a platform like Twitch or YouTube or whatever the frick it is, or Kick, like, starts to do outrageous things or starts to, like, not hold their TOS to the same standards against everyone, like, that's when I start to, like, want, like, this is stuff I want to discuss, this stuff I want to talk about, because it's like, this should not be allowed on Twitch, flat out. Like, and this very much goes against all of your many rules on your TOS, and it just shows an incredible bias that you have never, and I'm surprised. I would be surprised if they do actually do anything. Honestly, I know the bad Frogan. I don't think Hassan has gotten anything whatsoever, even though he freaking promoted terrorists and freaking platformed them, showing propaganda. But that just really shows you how Twitch is. And you know what, Twitch? After seeing all of this, I can see why advertisers are pulling out, and I can see why the Anti-Defamation League came after you, fully, like 100%. That is freaking insane, dude. Thanks for hanging out. Like or dislike, comment, and subscribe, and become a Monodachi today! I live stream all day, Monday through Friday, so go say hi! That's all for now, Monos. Goodbye, and thanks for swinging by. Salut!